Have you heard the term social determinants of health? Because it's not just a popular buzzword. It's actually going to be really, really important coming in 2021. So let me guide you through a little bit of what these social determinants of health are, how we identify them, how we code for them, and why they are going to be so important. Hey everyone, I'm Victoria. I'm a medical coder, auditor, educator, and content creator, and on my channel I provide tips, tricks, and tutorials to help you be successful in a medical coding career. Social determinants of health aren't really a medical condition, but they are factors that can impact a patient's ability to receive appropriate healthcare services. They are included in the status codes in your ICD-10-CM manual. You can find them here in your book. They are codes Z55 through Z65, persons with potential health hazards related to socioeconomic and psychosocial circumstances. Now, why are these so important? Well, there's a couple of reasons. One of them is there's a lot of things that are going on right now with physicians and quality measures. And providers can do the best care possible. They can give the appropriate lectures, the appropriate materials to a patient, tell them the appropriate medications, when to take them, do everything correctly. But in some circumstances, they might say, hey, you need to cut back on fat and sodium, and that patient will stop at McDonald's on the way home from their doctor's appointment and pick up a Big Mac meal, which is exactly the opposite of what the provider told them to do. They knew it, they just weren't compliant. So one of the things that we're starting to see is they're looking for ways to justify why there might be that patient noncompliance or barriers to receiving appropriate healthcare services or becoming healthy, to identify that even though maybe the provider themselves is doing all of the right things for their quality metrics, there's just something else that's contributing to their non-success of the patient. Another reason this is going to be so big in 2021 is if you think about the new 2021 E&M grid. If you look here under the table of risk, there is a section here that says in moderate that the patient's diagnosis or treatment is significantly limited by social determinants of health. So there is potential now that providers can receive moderate risk and hit some of those level 4 services for our outpatient patients if they are having barriers to receiving health care because of those social determinants of health. So what are some of the reasons that we might see that? So one thing that could impact patients' care is, let's look at this diagnosis code Z55.0, and that is problems with illiteracy. So if you imagine a patient that comes in to see their provider, and what do you typically get after you go to your provider visit? They get an after visit summary, right? And it tells you the listing in case you forget what medications you're supposed to take, what changes you're supposed to make to your lifestyle, all the information, who you're supposed to call, where you're supposed to go. If you're illiterate, you won't be able to read that after visit summary. So you might not even be able to appropriately find the right number to even call. So that could potentially limit your ability to receive healthcare services because you can't read that information that you need to know about your healthcare challenges. There's also code Z56.3, which is for a patient who has stressful work schedules or stressful work hours. Think about that. Think about our trucker population. So we have patients that are truckers. They're sitting for prolonged periods of time. They're driving for prolonged periods of time. They might not have capabilities to stop and pull over and take medications or injections at certain appropriate intervals. They might not be able to do a certain exercise regimen because of their stressful work situation. And because of sitting for prolonged periods of time, they might even be more prone to things like blood clots. So those might be things that could significantly impact that patient's ability to receive healthcare services. So if the fact that that patient is a trucker and works those long, unusual hours impacts their ability to receive certain treatments, that will qualify for moderate risk, and we only need one other category then in that level 4 section to hit a level 4 service. We also have on here Z59.6, which are patients who are low income. And in that case, our low income patients, they might be splitting pills in half because they can't afford them and they're cutting their medication. They might not take certain medications. They might not even want to get certain studies done because they know they're going to wind up with a medical bill that they can't pay. And then it just goes on. There's Z60.2, which is for patients who are living alone. And that could impact their healthcare services because there might be certain treatments that they need to take, maybe put in a catheter or something, and they need assistance, but they're living alone and no one's there to assist them. Or if they fall, they're going to have some sort of plan in place of what they're going to do if they fall and they're living alone and they don't have anyone that's going to come upon them for quite a period of time. There's Z6 3.0, which is for patients who are having problems with their spouse or their partner. And in those cases, it could be maybe the spouse is very jealous and they don't want that patient to get healthy and they don't want that patient to feel better or get more fit or healthful, because they are afraid that then they're going to leave them, that they're going to start cheating on them, that there's a lot of problems related to that spouse doesn't want them to become a better person because they're afraid that they're going to leave. And even things like homeless patients, they don't probably have appropriate access to healthy food. They might not be able to, if they're diabetic, take certain insulin injections because they don't have anywhere to store a refrigerated insulin, and that may impact the type of treatment that they are getting then as a homeless patient. And we even have Z6 5.4, which are the patients who have had some sort of issue that they've been a victim of crime. Maybe someone has stolen their medications in the past and they're very protective of not wanting to keep them in the area because they're afraid, oh, someone's going to break into my house and take my medications again. So there's a lot of different things that you should really familiarize yourself with this whole category of codes because of the way they're going to impact E&M starting 2021, and then also different quality measures. Now, the other important thing I want to go over is the guidelines, because there's some guideline changes that you may have missed and they're super, super important. Pay attention to this in your 2021 guidelines. Highlight it in your book. I'm going to go through it right now. If you see in your general reporting guidelines, number 14, documentation by clinicians other than the patient's provider, there's been an update this year, and it says patient self-reported documentation may also be used to assign codes for social determinants of health as long as the patient's self-reported information is signed off and incorporated into the health record by either a clinician or a provider. So what does that mean? Well, that means that if the patient says, hey, I'm working stressful work hours, hey, my neighbor is annoying the hell out of me, hey, I've been a victim of crime, I'm having issues with my spouse, you can incorporate those self-reported diagnoses into the medical record as long as a clinician or other provider validates them. So maybe it is on an intake form, it gets scanned into the medical record, the provider signs off on it, you can assign the appropriate social determinant of health diagnosis code. But keep in mind, if you're going to assign that a moderate level risk, that means the provider does in that documentation have to address it in some way, shape, or form in order to use that moderate risk for that level 4 visit. So really go through those diagnosis codes and familiarize yourself with them, because they are going to come into play even more and more in the coming years. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, make sure you give it a big thumbs up to support me and the channel, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can get alerts when I post new episodes. I will see you in the next episode, and until then, just keep on coding on.